Perhaps someone listening is passing a kidney stone. We don't know.
As
God,
we
I hope
speak.
it's not a bird.
And if you pass that stone, throw it right at a bird. Right out the window, honey. And just get that bird. Just get as many birds as you can with that stone.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Wait, can you check? Can you?
Hello. How's my low end? How's my mid? How's my high end?
You sound great.
I can hear you perfectly.
You sound great.
Thank God.
Okay.
Can I have a little more in my cans?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
How's that? Is that too much?
Thank you. We've done a
Is
couple
that too
shows with
much?
Corky, so we know the lingo. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Great.
And then you're a little quiet, busy.
I know. Hold on one second.
A sentence I don't think anyone said before.
Shut it.
I mean-
You set that up for me.
Do you want to look at Kate?
Hey.
How you doing, Caissie?
Hi. So nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you in this context. I'm breathless.
Well,
Okay,
that's
we are
not
recording.
often been said about me either. So I feel like we're saying a lot of things.
We're saying
Everything
a lot
is
of
being
things.
said.
We're writing a lot of checks.
Everything is being said.
I was just telling Busy about the time that my friends forgot to remind me that they had asked me months before to host their wedding reception. And I had taken some Molly, upon which the Irish wedding planner came bolting through the party and was like, right, so you ready to start? And I was like, start what? And she was like, hosting the entire party. And then I got up and tried to, while on MDMA, roast.
Well, you have to. She didn't tell you.
They had asked me months previous while drunk.
Yeah.
They had said, and you know what? Evan's going to sing and Hannah will do a toast. You know what, Jen? How about you introduce the toasts at the party? And I thought, oh, that's so sweet. They're including me. They feel guilty that there's not another role for me.
Sure.
Fine. Sure. I'll get up and say a couple things. But then months and months went by and it was never mentioned again.
Listen,
Right, so
I'm
you
telling you, when
figured,
months
like-
and months go by,
Months.
and you haven't heard about whatever you're supposed to be doing at a wedding.
And I thought, okay, they took it back. I'm not going to hold it against them. These are some of my best friends. I love them so much. I'll just be happy to be there. Go to Ireland, no mention of it. Get settled into the hotel, see everyone at the bar, no mention of it. Morning of the wedding, no mention. Get through the wedding to the wedding party in Kate Middleton's glass menagerie tent, I might add. No mention of it. I
like
imbibe,
the actual tent that Kate Middleton had?
That's correct.
Right.
I imbibe and indulge in all of the festivities offered to me, let's say. Upon which I was approached by a sweaty Irish wedding planner, just like beelining for me across the tent with her little head mic on. And I was like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And she was holding a handheld mic. And she just knelt down and was like, right, so you can start whenever you're ready. And I was like, So I, the rest was a blur, but I do remember that I tried to roast Bono and he did not seem pleased.
Oh, wow.
When you get a
Okay.
Bono name drop at an Irish wedding,
Yeah.
Well, there's only 4 people in Ireland.
that's what they say. That's what they say.
Can I ask you a question? Do they call MDMA Molly in Ireland? Or is that like,
I believe
That's
it was,
funny.
hypothetically, I believe it was called Molly Kerwin.
Oh my goodness.
Would you like a little Molly Shanahan? If my Irish friends ever find out what I said, this, they'll actually absolutely drown me in the river.
No
This
Irish
podcast
people.
doesn't go to Ireland.
Yeah, it doesn't. That people don't listen to this podcast in Ireland. So.
That's a real shame. I think you would have a strong demo
All
there.
right. Guys, in case you can't tell, we are joined today by the one, the only,
Danny DeVito.
Jen Tullock.
Jen Tullock.
Hi, Caissie and Busy.
You may know her as Sure Fine Okay from Instagram.
Otherwise known as the girl always on Busy's Instagram.
No, I don't mean that. I mean just Instagram in general.
No, you've really bulked out my demo. I appreciate it.
I mean,
Whenever we name check you on the podcast, I try to make sure we mention Sure Fine Okay
Oh my
because
God.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I think it's important. I think it's important, but also you may also recognize her or know her. Maybe you wouldn't recognize. I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something bold. You wouldn't recognize her as Devin from Severance.
right
Because you don't
Devin
look
is serious.
and you don't look like Devin in real life.
I appreciate that. And
You
I
don't.
have found that to be true. It was by design.
And then sometimes, though, what happens?
sometimes
Are you a little bit like?
sometimes I'm with other folks from the cast, and I get a little like pick me girl, where
I
I'm
kind
like,
of get it.
other people are coming up like, oh, we love the show, saying really nice things, which feels nice after you work hard on something.
And then they
Right.
look at you, and there's
And they're
like,
like,
no
and
recognition.
are you a publicist?
Yeah. And what do you do?
And I
you're
just
like,
pull my bangs up, my curly bangs up, and I say, I'm now, and they're like, no.
I'm Devin. You put on a baby Bjorn with a
It's-
fake baby in
That's
it.
right. That's right. Which mostly was a fake baby because we
well, you
shot
can't
the
work
first
with
season.
a real
You
baby.
can't work with a real baby, honey. Not me.
Right. Because, yeah.
No, because of the
I would
restraining order.
want, I would want like a snack baby if I was an
Do you
actor.
guys remember the fake baby that Bradley Cooper had in that
American Sniper.
How
movie? Could I forget? I haven't slept since I saw
It is
that clip.
one of the most haunting.
It's incredible.
Almost as bad as the Twilight baby.
Can I just say though, I have to give kudos to Bradley though because
Yeah,
he is
sure.
making that baby work. He
He's
is working that.
He's
baby.
working that baby. He's working that
Yeah.
baby.
and that's tough.
He's
It's
a true
hard.
actor.
You
He
know
really
he is. He really is.
But
And
that
I'm
baby
sure he'll
wasn't
let you know
even like as realistic as the ones that I see for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Like those
The
reborn.
ones that are just living with a gal and all love. You know what? I think that
Yes.
People work through real trauma.
people
with
work
those
through real trauma with those
I'm
babies. and
sorry.
I think that's beautiful.
I'm just
and I support it.
I'm feeling very sensitive right now.
No, I know,
I
but
can
I'm
meet you
just
there.
saying I think that the level of prop baby needs to be elevated to those babies, the reborn dolls, they're
reborn
called,
dolls, right?
that are available for that.
I'm with
Although
you.
I did see an Instagram account recently, an Instagram account of a person that crafts the reborn dolls, and they were beautiful and they were so cute. But this particular person was then using like an AI filter to bring the doll
Absolutely
to
not.
life,
Goodbye.
to make it
No.
like fall asleep or start laughing
No,
or
that
whatever.
gives me acid reflux.
It was a lot. It was like I am not ashamed to admit how long it took me to realize that it was baby dolls for sale, that it wasn't like I thought they were real babies. I thought for some reason this woman was like assembling a collection of clips of the most adorable babies. It took me like 7 clips.
And then
to
she like
figure out
put
that
her
they
thumb
were,
in one of their eyes, and you were like, "What?"
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, it was wild. But that's where we are right now in the world, right? I don't know what is real and what is not anymore.
That is correct. I don't know what is. I was going to say a real doll, and that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. I don't know why that was the lowest hanging fruit in my mind.
I worked on Graham Norton's American talk show. I was a writer on Graham Norton. He briefly had an American talk show, and
As
we
if
were
you needed to be cooler.
we were immediately
It's actually like sometimes
contacted by the
Caissie-
real
wait, just
doll
hold
company.
1 second. Sometimes
Yeah.
Caissie tells a story, and I'm just like, what? What?
You listen. We joke.
She'll
that
just be
we
like
contain
casually. She'll be like,
multitudes.
once I was like on a boat with Joan Rivers and Bette Midler and da da da, and I'm like, what are you
And I
fucking
borrowed
talking
Jerry
about?
Lewis's dentures and leapt into the sea after Natalie Wood. That got dark. Sorry. Anyway, our point is that you are a very cool person,
and
Caissie.
have lived a bunch
Many
of
a
lives.
year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Many,
so
many lives.
you were
But
working on
the-
Graham Norton's.
Working
Sure.
on Graham Norton's American talk show, and the Real Doll Company was like a new startup venture. And they instantly contacted us and said, would you want a real doll? And we were like, for 1 second, we were like, what would we use a real doll for? But then in the next second, I was like, what wouldn't we use a real doll for on this show? Like, we definitely need one. And they asked us if we wanted to customize what the real doll looked like. And I will say that we immediately requested it to look like a very famous person, but I won't say. I
You're
won't say
gonna
who
go.
it was.
You're gonna drive the tractor that far into the field and then park it.
Yeah,
We
I don't
asked for
think
it-
that's fair. I think you got to.
We asked for it to look like Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Can I just tell you that today, this very day, my writing partner Frank texted me a Catherine Zeta-Jones gif, and I said, "Frank, you realize that my sexual awakening was when she in The Mask of Zorro as the daughter of I was about to say of Antonio Banderas. All of the casting is problematic, and yet we love it. When Anthony Hopkins is like, 'Did you see Zorro?' And she's like, 'Yes, father,' and he was vigorous. very vigorous. She says vigorous, very vigorous. And I remember thinking, other than Sid Charisse sliding down Gene Kelly's leg and singing in the rain, that was the most confused my body has ever been before leaving the church. And it's not my fault. She is that way.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway,
Where's that real doll now?
Catherine
Just out of
Zeta-Jones.
curiosity?
We were just like, she's the sexiest woman alive. She's so like, we asked for it to look like Catherine Zeta-Jones. And
Did it?
so we got it at the real doll, and it did look quite a bit like Catherine Zeta-Jones. And like we did bits with it and stuff. I think we used it on the show. I think we probably messed around with it a lot more, like behind the scenes.
Okay, that's Caissie. Just
you gotta
cool it
choose
with
some
that. You
different
have to
verbiage there, sis.
rethink the way you just said that.
Yeah,
That's
we didn't do sex stuff.
No,
with
okay,
the doll.
thank you.
Although I don't know. I don't know what happened. Like when I punched out, there's a lot of people in an office, whatever.
Fucking God.
But I
That
will
is
say that
so disgusting.
I know
communal.
it is disgusting. Can I
You
tell
can't see my face,
can
but
I
I'm
tell you
not
the
blinking.
Have you guys ever seen a real doll in real life?
I watched that documentary about them. They're fascinating. And the
Okay,
whole
so-
subculture of people that have relationships with them is fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The model that we had, I don't know if this is still the case. I haven't hung out with a real doll in a long time, but ours, the top of the head came off so that you could like clean inside the head.
I'm not able to proceed. I'm not able to proceed.
Well, you don't want the head to get moldy.
Yeah, I mean, can you
Which
imagine?
actually did happen to one of my Cabbage Patch Kids.
How did your Cabbage Patch Kid's head get moldy?
She got mold in her head.
Well,
I think,
how did the real doll's head get moldy?
Oh
Caissie?
God, I don't
Well,
want to talk
that
about
I know.
that. I know that. That's gross. And my Cabbage Patch Kid, I think, was because I took her in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
They're
I
not.
didn't
Wait, but
water
was she like an
solvent.
all rubber Cabbage Patch
No,
doll?
she wasn't.
Aw.
R.I.P. to her.
Things dry quickly in Arizona? Question mark.
Yeah, I
Sure.
remember going to Arizona and thinking, the glass doesn't sweat. My hair is going to fare really well here. And that logic did not stand.
Really?
Yeah. Because curls actually love humidity.
Yeah.
But at the
It's the
time,
dry.
I was
The dry
trying
is
to
not
like
great.
beat the curl out of my hair because I was
Yeah.
like on a Christian youth mission trip. And I was like listening to Hanson and trying to pretend to be straight. So I was, she was flat ironing at the time.
That's such a lot of work for a kid.
Do you mean the emotional baggage of being brainwashed or the flat ironing? Because honestly,
All
the
of it
flat ironing
together,
was
cumulative.
honestly,
the flat
That's a
ironing
lot
was
on
tough.
a preteen's plate.
Jen, how's Severance going?
Severance is going great. Severance is on the airwaves.
I'm
yes.
all caught up.
You are?
Oh shit, I'm not. We can't talk
Yeah,
about
Jen,
it. Also,
can
we
I
don't want to
tell
talk
you-
about spoilers because people just like do what they want to do. They binge it when they want to binge it.
That's true. So
I
I
haven't
won't.
even-
People will be mad if we spoil the Wizard of Oz right now.
I mean,
people will be
for
like, "Oh,
real.
thanks for telling
Well,
me." The sister
newsflash:
died."
the ship sinks. That's Titanic.
But I will say that my husband and I were trying to like get so there were a few episodes to consume because he just had surgery, and so we wanted
Oh,
like
is he
something
okay?
to watch. He's okay.
Yeah.
But then when we went to start, we watched like 1 minute of season 2, and then he stopped it and he was like, "I have a great idea. Let's go back and watch all the way
Oh, no.
from the beginning of season 1." I was actually grateful for it.
Yeah.
I loved the rewatch, and then, and now we're all caught up. It only took like several tens of hours.
It would be cool. I think I didn't go back and rewatch the first season. I think it would be cool to watch the story arc that way. The way they thread the needle of those interweaving plots. I'm doing a lot of seamstress mixed metaphor here, so I apologize. But is impressive to me. It's math. It's the mathiest, most brilliant storytelling. I think Dan Erickson is an actual genius.
He obviously is. I've been getting served up so much Severance meme content on obviously because we're friends,
People are going
clearly.
to town.
But like I did see one that I appreciated so deeply, which is like this girl's like, these smart people watching Severance and tracking every biblical reference and the references to this, that, and the other, and da 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 da. And she's just like, wow, Mark's Audi's really going through it. Yeah. No, I mean, you can also just watch it on the level of like, it's an enjoyable show to watch.
It's very emotionally rich as well.
That is really funny.
I think that's what makes it special. But it's going well. I'm so proud of everybody. Took us a long time, which was nobody's fault. It was just like COVID and then the strikes, and took us a minute. But very pleased.
Well, it's worth
to see it out
waiting
in the
for.
world.
And
I hope so,
also, it makes me happy that like all the reasons that you're mentioning, it sounds like the production took a long time because they were trying to do the right thing by
Totally.
everyone. So that
It's
makes me happy.
meticulous. The every angle of the making of that show is meticulous. It's algebraic, and I think you could see it in the product. I'm very proud of everyone. I really am.
Yeah.
I am too.
I love the guy that plays Rickon, the guy that
Michael
plays your husband.
Chernus. He is a gift. Here's the thing about that guy. That role is tough.
Yeah.
Because he is written to be a blowhard, but Michael Chernus
and like a little bit of a buffoon.
Yes. This guy is like a classically trained Juilliard actor who has done it all. He's done broad comedy. He's played, he's run the full gamut as a character actor. And to show up and make him at once so hilarious, but also to me so lovable, I think what he does, he makes it look easy. But I think what he does is one of the tougher jobs on the show, and I'm really in awe of him.
He was in another show that I loved once, and you were just making me. He was in Manhattan, right?
He was he's going to be like, you don't know my filmography. He was in a really great show with Edie Falco called Patriot, which I watched and was awesome, and he was awesome in it. I first saw him in Orange is the New Black as Taylor Schilling's brother. Cal was his name. And then I mean, he was like much beloved in the Broadway worlds as a theater actor as well. And he was also in Captain Phillips.
Right.
Which is what I call busy when I'm asking her to get my drunk ass in an Uber.
You call me that more than just them. You call me that a lot.
Oh my God.
It's too easy.
It is too easy.
Well, you were just making me think of the show Manhattan when you were saying that sometimes you get not recognized when you're with the cast of Severance, because there was this show Manhattan that starred John Benjamin Hickey, who's the great John Benjamin Hickey, and Michael
John
Chernus
Benjamin
was
Hickey, who is the great John Benjamin Hickey. Is that what you just said?
Do you know the great John Benjamin Hickey?
I do.
Also known as the great John Benjamin Hickey.
Like,
he's a big deal to me.
No, he's but
I caught it.
As a way of explaining to the audience at home who John Benjamin Hickey is. Just saying.
Listen to who's talking to me about not
spicy adults here
things.
with headphones on. We're gonna get hung up on one sentence or two. Buckle up, everybody.
Busy never explains things, and the one time I fail to explain something.
No, you.
Anyway,
this
John
is
Benjamin
why,
Hickey.
He's
amazing.
Because I look forward to your explanations of things because it gives me context.
So nice. That's nice. Now I feel like I was salty, and I should apologize.
We were
so
all
I'm
salty,
sorry.
but you know what? I think.
Sorry
it's
to be
You know
salty.
what? I'm salty.
You are. You're a saltine cracker.
No, but
but your
cheat,
core
Jen.
is kind.
Oh, my core is the molten lava, the kindest.
Yeah, you're a Cancer.
People like saltines.
That's what Cancers are, honey. We're on the inside, we're gooey nougat, and on the outside, a chilled dark chocolate.
I got stood up for a date tonight, Caissie, and I'm like really annoyed about it, and I'm letting
I'd be annoyed too.
I know it's fucking stupid, and it's
poison him.
fine. It doesn't
I mean,
matter.
text him.
What? Anyway.
Well,
but so we pivoted, and we're having a girls' night, and I
Yes.
made a reservation at a fancy fucking fun place.
We're gonna go over there and do
We're
fancy
just gonna be
things.
fancy.
I
But
love
I did
it.
for 1 second just think to myself, shit, if I hadn't invited Nassim and Ben, we could just go get those Ritz cracker crab dip.
God, I love
And
those
we
Ritz
go,
crackers.
we go to the Jen and I go
then
to this
invite
place.
Hoda Kotb because she loves
Oh,
Ritz crackers.
we go to this place and we get this warm crab dip.
Oh God.
And it comes with just a sleeve of Ritz crackers.
And they just have a lineup of really benevolent servers who seem to actually like being there, which is a real
Yes.
anomaly in New
And
York.
they
I
just
say
look-
that as a former server.
They'll just chat with you.
They're just really lovely and almost paternal. They bring you this warm dip that's hot, but not too hot, and a buttery Ritz cracker. Anyway, John Benjamin Hickey.
I was just going to say, back to this show, Manhattan.
Yes.
It was on a channel that like wasn't even supposed to show shows. And so I was applauding them for having this
stars?
very ambitious drama, Manhattan.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Shots fired.
I forget.
Also,
I wanna
stars, if
say
you're
it was
listening,
on,
I am
like,
pitching a show.
UPN or something. I can't, I'm trying to find. But anyway, that's where I fell in love with Michael Chernus. But you were just making me think, it just made me think of Manhattan when you were talking about not getting recognized with the cast of Severance, because I was once attending this party and I was so into this show, Manhattan, and I looked over and the cast of Manhattan was there, literally just like standing around like they weren't even on a TV show. And I was like, oh my God, the cast of Manhattan. I love the show Manhattan. And they were all like, you know us? And I was
That's
like, yeah,
because
I
you
can't
are the thinking person's party guest, Caissie. They did not
I
see
was
it
like,
coming.
I love this show. I love this show,
Oh,
Manhattan.
I bet that felt
It's-
really nice to them.
When I tell you that they all immediately followed me on social media and like we've remained in touch.
That's awesome.
Not Michael Chernus, but the main.
Well, I'm gonna have
cast
some
of
words with him
characters.
about that.
Yeah, just let him know that I
I'm
was
gonna
a
let him
fan
know.
of Manhattan.
Never mind
and,
the fact that
if
he
you have
has an adorable baby at home and is now starring in the new John Wayne Gacy Jr. series. That sounds so fascinating.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know much, but I know from the trades that
Whoa.
they're really sort of focusing the narrative on the mothers of some of the victims. But Michael's
Oh,
gonna.
wow.
Well, I was gonna say he was gonna kill, and that's the wrong.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't it. That wasn't.
I've been trying not to say kill it because, like, I don't know, some person that like has not enough to do recently was like, kill it is so violent. And, you know,
It's not
should we
wrong.
be saying kill it? And
Or
I was
maybe-
like, I mean,
Or we should just be saying it to people of all genders because I feel like traditionally we say that shit to little boys and we say,
yeah.
like,
killing it,
you're going to
crushing it."
demolish them. You're going to crush them. I'm like, either assign just like knee buckling violence to all genders
Yes.
or we shouldn't say it at all. I will
Yes,
tell you, I got
exactly.
recently called out because I said, oh, well, I don't want to beat a dead horse. And an acquaintance touched my knee and said, hi, sorry, I'm a vegan and an animal lover. We prefer don't feed a hungry horse. No, feed a hungry horse. Don't feed a hungry. No, feed a fed horse. That's what it is. Feed a fed horse. Don't feed a fed horse. And I said, well, what about kill a bird with 2 stones? And she said,
Kill a bird.
Kill
two
birds with one.
stone.
Killing a bird with killing
that
one
is
bird with 2
egregious.
stones.
Yeah,
is
that
absolute.
was violence.
I agree,
You
that
chose
was violence. I chose violence.
You chose violence.
whatever birds are being killed with whatever amount of stones, I was given a
Yeah.
note. I was given a punch up.
Wow. Wow.
And she just said, people in the animal loving community prefer. And I said, oh, hold on. I love animals. And she was
Yeah.
like, right, but just that's not necessarily reflected in what you just said. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go journal.
Yeah, because you weren't really killing any birds or beating any horses.
No.
What
I've
about
never
my
even
mom?
held a
Loves.
stone.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes. What's the replacement? What's the replacement for skin a cat?
There's more than one way to bathe a rabbit, to bathe a bunny.
There's more than one
I guess the
way.
alliteration and rhyme feels important in this thought
Yeah.
experiment. So feed a
Yeah.
fed horse.
By the way, skin a cat
Yeah.
is disgusting.
that is gross.
But
That is
so
disgusting.
is beat a
Why
dead
would
horse.
Why would you
Guys.
skin a cat even if there was only one way? Why would you skin a cat
but
at
also
all?
beating a dead horse is disgusting.
I get
also,
the point of that
killing
one.
2 birds with 1 stone,
Or one bird with 2 stones.
or
in
one
my
bird with
case.
2 stones. I mean,
Just really firing away with that little slingshot. Is it dead yet? No, we
Yeah.
all here at Busy Phillips is doing her best. Everyone loves animals. I was given that
wow.
paperwork to sign.
So you're having like a fun girls' night because you got
Having a fun
canceled
girls'
on
night.
Busy. At least he didn't like leave you. He didn't leave you sitting somewhere, right?
No, he just canceled.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm
Okay.
sitting here.
Dating app culture.
No, I know.
Yeah, she's sitting
It's
here.
not from a dating app, though.
Okay, sorry.
But whatever.
Dating
It doesn't
culture.
matter. Dating culture.
I will say
Whatever. They're all broken. Everybody sucks. It's terrible.
I only met my wife because I canceled on her, and then she canceled on me. That is a true
And
story.
then
Because
And then you met up later?
No, we ran into each other accidentally.
IRL. I was there.
Busy was there. Busy and Cricket were there. No, we had met. Well,
we were her wingmen.
I didn't know that we had matched on a dating app. I hadn't remembered this. And
Hmm.
we were at a premiere for a thing that I worked on, and I was waiting to watch the press line.
a thing that you worked on. Maybe just a giant Christmas movie called Spirited.
Yes, if you blink, you'll miss me in the 45 dazzling seconds in which I play Ryan Reynolds' mother. But I was waiting
With
to
old
watch-
age makeup
with
on,
old
guys.
age makeup on. Though I
She
will,
never looks like herself.
that is, I will say, that is true, and I think it's because I have weak bone structure. But an
I
avid
think you have
mind.
exceptional
You do
bone
have
structure.
exceptional
I think that's
bone
why you're
structure.
able to shapeshift into.
I really, really prefer that framing, and I appreciate it. But I was busy. Was there? Cricket was there. We were waiting. I was waiting to go through the press line, and someone tapped me on the shoulder. And I turned around, and this lovely person was staring at me. And I had that moment where you go, I know this person, but I don't remember how.
Right.
And I was like, oh no. So I tried to buy time, and I was like, hey, girl. And she said, hey. And I was like, how have you been? And she was like, really good. You've been busy though. And I was like, yes. And remind me, you have also been busy?
Stop.
And then she, because she's an intelligent person, was like, maybe I'll see you at the after party. I'm going to mosey on. And I was like, okay, bye. And as soon as she walked away, her friend, who was also standing there, said, how do you know Marie? I brought her as my date. She's my friend. And I said, yes, I think from the Sundance Film Festival. Lied. And she was like, oh, I don't know. She works in, she told me the company she works for. And I said, is she Swedish? And she said, yes. And I was like, Hinge. We had matched on the dating app Hinge months before, but I was living at my farm upstate, and I had a plan to come into the city to meet her, and my well broke. And I said, well, this is about the gayest sentence I've ever uttered. My well has broken and I cannot make it into town. And she was like, oh, don't worry, I'm traveling soon. So, and then we kind of just fell off the way you do on apps. So then I had to sit through a movie in which not only am I overdressed for being in 4 seconds of the movie, but in the 4 seconds I am in the movie, I'm wearing old age prosthetics and look like Charlize Theron in Monster. So I'm sitting there knowing she's elsewhere in the theater, like, oh God. So I found her at the after party at the Rainbow Room. Busy was like, you got this, go over there. And I did had that. And I talked to her, and we fell in love very, very quickly. And now she is my wife.
And
I love that.
she
I
is
bet
my
she
wife.
was like, okay, I like her now. I think she looks hot now. I'm seeing her old age, and I like that. So I'm going to marry her.
I'm seeing her old age.
She's like, I'm seeing my future. I said, take a good look, because that's me in about 4 years.
You should have demanded she go through old age
I asked.
prosthetic progression.
We did
Okay.
try.
Yeah.
We did try.
But she's Scandinavian, so they actually don't age.
Yeah.
She's going to look the
It's
same.
genetically
Yeah.
impossible. It's all that
Yeah.
milk, I think.
Well, I love your wife. She is the best. She's
Me
the
too.
she's
She
just
loves you
like
too.
a radiant angel.
She is. She's so full of kindness and so unconscionably smart. I don't find it very nice when people have both. I'm like, come on, leave a little
It
for the rest
doesn't
of us.
really make sense
No.
because normally because this expression is not mean to animals. God doesn't give with both hands.
No, it's just mean to God.
It's just mean to God, and that's okay.
That's
sometimes.
fine. She's
We're
fine.
fine. She's
She's
gonna
fine.
be.
She can handle it.
She can handle it. She can take the criticism.
She
She's
can take
taking
it.
worse.
She's taking a lot right
Anyway, I'm just saying that Marie,
now. We love her.
we love her.
We love her.
Guess what I'm wearing right now on my lips, Caissie? Guess what I am wearing on my lips?
Precision Empower Matte Crayon from
I am.
Thrive Cosmetics.
That's right. I'm wearing Thrive Cosmetics, guys, because it's the only thing that I put on this face at this point.
I too am wearing Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara.
I haven't put on the Liquid Lash Extensions mascara yet, but I'm going to curl these puppies up and I'm going to put that mascara on before I head out for my girls' dinner. Let me tell you something.
It
Guys,
sounds good.
We love Thrive Cosmetics so much. We love the viral tubing mascara, as we said. We love the lipsticks. We love the Brilliant Eye Brighteners. You know what? The Brilliant Eye Brightener is real easy because it's like foolproof. If
Yeah.
you're a person that's like not good at makeup,
Yeah.
Go get yourself
just-
the Brilliant Eye Brightener because it's like an eyeshadow and a highlighter stick. It can brighten your eyes, open your eyes. Then you can use like sort of the darker shades. You just put it in your crease, use your finger a little bit. Guys, you're going to look amazing. 27 shades. Any of
Incredible.
them. Order any of them. And the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara, you know I've talked about it nonstop. It lasts all day. It doesn't clump. It doesn't smudge. It doesn't go under your eyes in the most annoying thing that has ever existed to mascara, where it just is like under in the little creases under. That does not happen with
Panda
Liquid
eyes.
Lash.
Nobody needs it.
No one
Yeah.
needs it. It is a flake-free tubing mascara. It dramatically lengthens and defines your lashes from root to tip. And here's the deal. Thrive Cosmetics is luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you guys, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/best. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/best for 20% off your first order. Ugh, Blueland. Do you know what I just found?
What?
Well, I was like, I'm out of my Blueland toilet bowl cleaners. And then wouldn't you know it?
You had more?
I had more. I had more. And I was so excited. I was like literally so excited. Caissie, I like yelped. I was like, oh my God.
You know how much I love those toilet bowl tabs.
No, they are incredible.
Yeah.
First of all, here's why Blueland is the best. Because, there's like an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles that are thrown away every year. And if that's not bad enough, most cleaning formulas are just 90% water, which is heavy to ship and leads to excessive carbon emissions. Plus, those products are very often filled with very nasty ingredients that are bad for you and your plants and your kids and your dogs and your cats. It's a lose-lose situation, guys, which is why Blueland set out to do something about it. They have eliminated the need for single-use plastic in the products that we reach for the most, but they do not sacrifice the quality or the efficacy of the products. They are the best. We love them.
Yeah, it's very elegant packaging, elegant scents. So that appeals to the snob in me.
Sure.
But also because we're apparently eating a credit card's
gross.
worth of
I don't even wanna talk
microplastics
about- I don't wanna talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I mean,
Every day?
week. Busy.
No, stop. Stop.
So I feel better knowing that I'm not contributing to the microplastic problem.
Me too. The idea is very simple. They offer refillable cleaning products with beautiful, cohesive design. It looks great on your counter, under your sink. It looks great anywhere you want it to be. But the best part is that you don't have to worry about, grabbing bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run. You fill your reusable bottles with water. You drop in the tablets. You wait for them to dissolve. And then you have really incredible cleaning supplies that work just as well as the things that you've been brainwashed to think are the best, but they're really not the best, guys. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, Blueland products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands. They're free from dyes and bleach and harsh chemicals, and they're better for the environment, and they're better for you, and they're just better, period. Guys, get on board with Blueland. Blueland has a special offer for you, our listeners, right now. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/best. You don't want to miss this. Blueland.com/best for 15% off. That's blueland.com/best to get 15% off. Guys, can we talk about this fucking plane crash? What the fuck?
Wait, which one? The one that went upside down?
Yes.
Wait, okay.
7.
Let me begin by saying
again, not that I just speak in memes now, but what the fuck was Pete Buttigieg doing? Holding all the airplanes aloft himself? That's the director of
he was not
transportation.
firing everyone that did hold planes aloft.
that's true. He was just
first.
trying to stay alive as a queer person in America.
No, I mean, he clearly was doing a great job as the deputy of transportation, the head of the Department of Transportation.
Secretary of Transportation.
Secretary
Secretary of Transport. Secretary.
Sure.
I do find it alarming that this many aviation disasters have happened. It didn't help that Marie and I just the other night watched this British miniseries based on, oh my goodness, now I can't remember what it's called. There was a plane that was flying over a small town in Scotland at the very moment that unfortunately Lockerbie, thank you. The terrorist attack happened, a bomb went, and then the plane crashed into the town. It was terrible. But I was like, we're watching that between 4 aviation harrowing disasters. I was like, maybe we should watch something else. We should watch Love is Blind. We should watch Love is Blind UK.
Yeah.
Instead. But it's crazy. And then here's my question. Have either of you seen the movie Denzel Washington did?
Fearless?
No, it's the one where he plays the pilot and he's an addict.
I thought that was
It's
What
not
is
it's
that?
I think it might be called, what is it called? It's one word, but it's not Fear or Fearless. He plays a pilot and he's an addict, and
and he's drunk and he lands the plane.
Yes, he's drunk and on cocaine, and he lands
because
the plane.
he lands the plane.
Right.
But that's why he lands the plane is because he's drunk and on cocaine.
He's able to land the plane because he's drunk and on cocaine, and
Oh my God.
so it's a real pro drug film. No, it's he then has to sort of speak to
Flight.
Thank you, flight. Occam's razor. It's always the easiest answer.
I mean,
so
true.
he gives a beautiful performance as usual, but I remember being fascinated by the actual aviatory aspect of what it posits, which is like apparently when a plane is descending too quickly, if you flip it, you can land it safely. There's something about physics that I am not going to deign to understand because I'm a right brainer. But I remember seeing the movie, and I was maybe like 18 when it came out, and I was like, I'm going to look this up on Google. And I did. And was it something like that? Was it a crash landing and they flipped it on purpose?
I think what I've read so far, and again, like back to the point of who knows what's real and what's not real, I think they're saying that it was wind shear and possibly the landing gear failed at the last minute.
So it just flipped?
Just flipped
Involuntarily.
Yeah.
Can you
like
imagine
a rollover,
how
like a RAV4 does,
like a RAV4 after a night out drinking with the girls? I'm not speaking from experience. So when the plane is flipping all the way, it has to be high enough that the wings clear.
No. The one wing is gone.
One wing is gone.
It came off.
One wing
It snapped off.
Exploded off.
Oh my
I just watched the video.
But there were no fatalities.
No,
No.
and that's like such a credit to like the flight crew. Those Delta flight attendants got everybody off.
I know,
within
but
seconds.
did they know that it was going to be an emergency landing?
That's a good question.
Because if they did, then they put everybody in that brace position. You have to But look at this guy's video.
Oh my
Jen.
God. Okay, Busy's
Wait.
showing us a video where like a guy's helping people out of the overturned
this
plane
is a
into
guy
the
who
snow.
is a passenger on the plane.
Oh my Lord.
So
And
when
they're
they
just
ask
like,
you, do you feel like you could help people in the event of an
Honey,
emergency?
I would be.
You would be leading
here's
the pack.
Here's the actual video of the crash. I'm sorry. I just want to show it to you. Okay, ready? Watch. Boom. Wait. Just watch. Then it flips.
Oh my
Then it
God.
flips.
I would be.
Then it flips.
Okay, for one thing, thank all of the fairies in the universe that there are no deaths. I cannot believe that because that was quite a large fireball.
yeah.
Fucking nuts.
And those people are going to be fucked up for a long time.
Are they?
Yeah,
Are
I can't imagine.
Or are you
Or
like-
are they like, I have a new lease on life. I'm going to go buy a Harley.
survived a fucking commercial plane crash. It could have been like literally everyone could have just been blown up. They fucking survive. And you go and you're just like, I get it now. This is like all we have is this moment. Every day. Well, every day is all there is.
Every day is all there is. You should get that tattooed.
I should put it on my wrist, a place where I can always
Permanently
look
in
at it and remember that even when things feel like how they feel, it's just going to be, every day is all there is. I
have like a
cannot.
thought experiment for both of you.
Sure.
Which is if you were to walk away from a life-threatening event like that, a survivor, and you had the sort of like endorphin rush, serotonin flooding
Mhm.
that we're talking about,
Mhm.
what would be like the 3 things you would do that you would not have done otherwise?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know, Busy. Do you have thoughts?
No, I kind of feel like I live, laugh, love anyway.
You do live off of. You
Do you know what I mean?
So do I.
So do you.
So does Caissie. But I wonder if
just
it's like
feel
maybe like send a longer text to grandma, or like I don't know if it's that trite or if it's not that is trite at all. Grandma, I love you for listening. But I wonder if it's less like I'm going to do something because to be a better person, or it's more like fuck it, like I'm going to go do a tight 15
I
at the Comedy Cellar.
Right.
Well, see, this is the thing though. So I moderated this panel for HFC, which is Lauren and Seth Rogen's foundation that like supports people who with
I heard Joe
Alzheimer's.
Rogan.
No, not right. Can you fucking imagine if
I
this is
heard
how
Joe
you found
Rogan.
out? This is how
That
you
you're
find
hanging
out.
out?
This is how you find out.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I had just like a trauma response to the name
Rogan,
Rogan, and I was
No,
like,
Seth,
the good Rogan, the good Rogan.
and Lauren Miller Rogan, who's who had a parent who suffered from early onset Alzheimer's, and they've like really committed and done such incredible. They created Hilarity for Charity, which is now just HFC, and like they've done such incredible, groundbreaking work. In terms of the research and the resources available for people who are like dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. And so Lauren had reached out because she's like, we're doing this panel on end of life caregiving.
Wow.
And I really need a moderator. And I do know that like, you went through the experience of losing your best friend to cancer, which is not the same, but like, I think you'd be a really great moderator for this. So I was like, of course, Lauren, it's on Valentine's Day. That feels right to me. So I moderated this panel and it was really interesting because a little bit of like what you're saying is that, well, when people are given the information that they have a finite period of time, it does sort of like change everything. And it changes everyone around them as well. Because if you can like break the part where it's deeply uncomfortable to have to face death, which is a thing that like our culturally we just don't really do.
We don't.
We just don't like to
I'm
do it.
going to have to do ayahuasca to confront it. That's
No,
the
you're
whole other
not.
story. Well, I mean, but
you might.
I'm not being facetious though. Sorry to interject, but quickly, I do think often I'm 41. I'm still a young woman, but I'm not a young woman. And I'm thinking about the fact that like, 20 years from now is 61 and 20 years ago was 21 and 21 seems so much further away. Right. And I was thinking the other day, I was watching a miniseries about Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix. I'm going to plug it for
Oh my God, you're so obsessed with it. But
I'm
wait,
obsessed.
I started watching it and yes, you're right.
Kaitlyn Dever is phenomenal.
Is genius. But can I just tell you, it for me, having had a friend who recently died of cancer, it was too much. I'm like not going to continue with the series.
I support you.
But I watched it because you talked about it so fucking much.
I'm sorry I didn't give you a content warning about all the cancer.
I knew what it was.
Yeah.
But it just like, and I knew I had to watch it because I needed you to stop talking about Kaitlyn Dever.
Listen, if she and I end up at any of the same events this season.
God help her.
God help her. Because I will be behind a shrub with night vision goggles like, Miss Dever, excuse me, Miss Dever.
When I tell you the amount of casual conversations where Jen's been like.
I love her.
You know who I think is one of the greatest actresses of our generation? Kaitlyn Dever. I'm on board. I want you to know
Quote
I'm on
me
board.
now.
I want you to know
let me finish this up because I want to go back to what you're saying about Seth.
Not about Seth.
The
but
reason
about,
the work that end of life. Mm-hmm. The reason I bring this up is because there is a really beautiful scene where one of the characters, based on a real woman, has been given a finite amount of time.
I can't
It's
just
Kaitlyn.
because I know it's just you've talked so much about this show in our lives.
I just need you to know that as a neurospicy person, I sometimes get hung up on one thing and the needle skips. Okay, and right now it's Kaitlyn Dever's. I know I'm not, and I feel
all of us.
It's all of us. So
it's just cute.
Right now it's Kaitlyn Dever's performance in Netflix's Apple Cider Vinegar. Anyway, there's a beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so you know the scene where the character goes to do ayahuasca to try to like confront her own death.
Yes.
And I mean, look, no show is perfect, but I thought it was a really beautiful way to show, for one thing, a hallucinogen experience. I think that's hard to do visually.
Yeah.
But it did make me think. I'm terrified of death. I think about it constantly. I was raised in like a religious cult. It's taken me a long time to deconstruct from that line of thinking.
Right.
When I had a health crisis last year, for which Busy was present, I had a little stroke. I found myself praying in the MRI machine. And it was after that I thought, oh, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I don't know what my own vocabulary around that moment would be, which is what I was thinking about. Because that scene in the show made me think, I wonder if going and doing ayahuasca or peyote would be helpful to try to crack that open for myself.
Can I tell you one thing before we
Yeah.
go back to
HFC?
is that I helped this isn't as good as working on Graham Norton, but I helped put together this book about this person that took LSD for intractable depression, microdosed LSD.
Yeah.
But it was she wrote the book and included accounts from many people who had done various hallucinogens to try to figure out something in their life. And for her, it was intractable, incurable depression.
Right.
And she talked to this older gentleman who a great number of his family members, most of his family, I believe, had died in the Holocaust. And he was talking the same way that you're talking, I think, and the same way that I would talk. And he did ayahuasca. And I never met this man. I just, went over his account of his experience. And he was a very accomplished person, but just had this very, very, very great fear of death. And didn't seem like a real ayahuasca type guy, but that's what he chose to do, is to go do an ayahuasca ceremony to see if he could. And he kind of said that it was like terrifying. For me, I'm like, anything where I'm going to vomit and shit myself, that's already terrifying. But
Sure.
like, he was also terrified of, what he was going to see.
Yeah.
And he said that all of his family members came to him. They came to him. And I was like so excited to hear what their message was. And they were like, "You're alive. We're not. Can you stop wasting your life?"
They slapped him. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they were
incredible.
Like, it's annoying to
Get it
us.
together.
We would love to be alive, And he was just like, "Oh, okay, got it.
I want to do. I've had my own positive experiences with hallucinogens. I've never done a ceremony like that.
Sure.
And before I go completely down that playground slide, I do want to hear what you're going to say, Biz, though, about HFC.
Yeah, please
Come back to us.
I'm coming back.
come."
Busy
Busy
is
is
crazy. She was just churning butter in the corner.
I was just thinking.
Gah.
I was just thinking. A lot's gone on today. Yeah.
I know. But tell us about HFC.
Wait, what was you? What was
End
you,
of life
What
care.
was you gonna say?
I was going to say, that's it really, that I my therapist has a practice in which she like clinically implements hallucinogens upon request and can do sort of like guided trips with a GP present. And I am interested in that. But after watching, I'm not sure if I mentioned, I watched Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix.
We got it.
Booksmart's Kaitlyn
Very
Dever.
good.
But it did, that scene, though it did not involve my beautiful Kaitlyn, it did make me think about that, because I believe, look, say what you will on the spectrum of spirituality, I'm sure it is just unlocking our own subconscious. And allowing us to convene with that part of our subconscious that is otherwise locked. Be that as it may, I want it unlocked because I know I've exhausted my earthly, conscious, sober resources trying to make it okay for myself to one day die.
Yeah.
And the older I get every year, I'm like, oh, this is a this is a crapshoot. Everything after 40 feels like a crapshoot. People are dying at an alarming rate. Like you alone, Busy, have
Yeah, I
like,
know.
I've
I know.
watched you experience loss the last
So
couple years and so many others
insane.
around me. And I'm like, oh, this is a fluke. This is a cosmic wince that has made it so that I'm
But
still
it's like,
alive.
but that's the thing is like, it is a blip, right? And
yeah.
so the fact that we lose that piece of like guys, we are all in an airplane crash every fucking day. That we all survive an airplane crash every fucking day, there by the grace of God. And it takes people too fucking long to realize it. And it really was like with Kate and being with her so intimately. Like I remember, I'm going to cry, but I remember Sarah Bareilles because she had lost, before Gavin, she had lost her other great best friend to cancer very quickly before we had started Girls Five Eva. And when Kate was diagnosed and, I like we were filming Girls, the last season of the show. And, and Sarah was like, I need you to understand this as a gift. I need you to really like take in what a gift this is, because it's a gift.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it is, and if you can see it and approach it as that, like it will be the most profound thing that you will experience. And she's not wrong. That's exactly what it is. And in that panel, essentially, all of these expert people who have spent their end of life doulas and a doctor whose specialty is palliative care, which I didn't even fucking realize what palliative care is, which is really fascinating.
Can you explain it? Because I don't fully understand.
Palliative care is different than like hospice.
Okay.
Which is that like basically when you get a diagnosis that's like terminal, palliative care comes in, or you can be referred to a palliative care specialist who can come in and like talk to you about what it is that like you want and like what is the best, and then they can help sort of coordinate
like how you want to die.
It's not necessary. It's
how
like
you want to live.
How you want to live.
Yeah.
And like what kind of care makes the most sense for how you want to live. What if you find out, you know what I mean? They're like, there's a, 4% chance this fucking treatment is going to work. Do we do it? But it's going to take, whatever. Or they give you whatever.
So
they give you
they're
the
curating
options,
the whole situation.
And they're helping you like sort of figure out, yes, the best courses of action. And then they're there to support your caretakers when, especially like, in this instance, we're talking about people who are suffering from dementia. And like, I can't even imagine what that would be. Like if you're a person who's youngish, in their 50s or whatever, and you get this diagnosis that you have this thing that's going to take your mind, and so then you have to like, you can talk to them about what it is that you want, how you want to live, like where, what you would want. Like it's really intense, really fucking intense shit. And, but I guess the overarching thing is that for sure in a lot of ways, in so many ways, having an illness that affords you any amount of time is a gift.
Yeah.
At the end of your life, because you're able to say all the things.
Yeah.
And if you're a person in that person's life, you also are able to say all the things. There's nothing left unsaid, And I had that experience. Right. But all that to say, we're all surviving those fucking crashes every day. And like the fact that people don't live like that is crazy to me. And at its core, it's so dumb, but it is just about love. Like it's just about love. And like the truest expression of all of us is just love. If you are looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, guys, you got to give cornbread hemp a try.
I'm
Corn-
so grateful to
you're-
cornbread right now.
it's-
Something just to like take the edge off at night, I think is helpful.
Guys, America's first USDA organic THC edible, proudly grown in Kentucky. 1-to-1 THC to CBD ratio, perfect for taking that edge off without making you feel anxious or paranoid like other cannabis edibles. It's 10 milligrams of THC per gummy, so you know you're getting that exact dose. No harsh solvents like petrochemicals or industrial acids, unlike most hemp THC products. And there's no synthetic ingredients. And it is Farm Bill compliant and legal for adults over 21. I personally am a fan of cornbread gummies when I need like a little healthier happy hour because I just take a little bite of that gummy. And I feel
I'm
very
going to
chill.
say they taste better than other gummies I've had.
They do taste good.
Sorry,
I'm
other
very into
gummies.
it. Very into it. I love it. It is, again, the first USDA organic THC gummy that's 100% legal. If you want to give cornbread a try, they're offering Busy Phillips is doing her best listeners. Buy one, get one free on all products. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/best and use promo code BEST at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/best and use code BEST for buy one, get one free on your first order. Guys, cheers to a healthier happy hour. I was feeling so weird yesterday, and then you know what I remembered?
You needed your electrolytes?
I need my electrolytes, Caissie, because also I've been sweating it out in that sauna. And
Right.
you know what I've been sweating out? My electrolytes.
Your electrolytes. You need to put them back in there.
I needed to put them back in.
I've replaced my afternoon coffee with a big, tall glass of electrolytes.
Well, Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything we need, nothing we don't. Lots of salt, no sugar. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium, no junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS, just everything that you need, nothing you don't. Because electrolytes are so important and facilitate hundreds of functions in your body, including the conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, and fluid balance. You're feeling bloated? Guys, drink some electrolytes. I'm telling you, drink an Element.
Give it a try, see what happens.
You shall see what happens. Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches and muscle cramps and fatigue and sleeplessness and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. So listen, when you sweat, the primary electrolyte lost is sodium. Athletes can lose up to 7 grams per day. Me and my sauna, probably close to the same. I don't know. No one is measuring it, but I would say probably. But when you don't replace it, you experience weird things like your head hurts or you feel weird, you have muscle cramps, you have fatigue, you're like, ugh, I don't feel like myself. Guess what? That's where the Element comes in. Element is used by everyone from NBA, NFL, NHL players, Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs to just me and my sauna. Caissie at home. Matt resting. Guys, we're getting our electrolytes in and we highly recommend it. It really does make a difference. I'm like a huge fan. I love Element. They have been advertising since day one with us. And there's a reason why we still want them around because we love the product and we use it. We use it, guys.
Every day.
Every day. Right now, Element is offering you, our listeners, a free sample pack with any drink mix purchase. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element drink mix purchase. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors, or you can share Element with a salty friend. I like to hold on to them and I use the single serving packets when I travel. That's what I do. You might be different. We could be different people. That's fine. Anyway, get yours at drinkelement.com/best. This deal is only available through our link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/best. That's drinkelement.com/best. Also, Try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, give it away to a salty friend, and they will give you your money back, no questions asked.
I'm so glad Sarah said that thing about like, this is a gift and try to see it as a gift, because I think that's just the problem with surviving the plane crash every day, is that we know this from like what we do. Like I'm thinking about, I had this boss, I worked on a show when Twitter came out and like Twitter was still usable. And there on the show was live. There'd be 1,000 great, fun, like loved the show tonight, loved when this happened, whatever. One comment from one person, one tweet being like, why'd you say this or whatever? And that would be the thing that he would text me on my way home about like, oh, why did we let this happen? Why, what's the deal? And like, I'd be like, there's 1,000, there's 10,000 positive comments. And Busy, you've said it before too, about like, the one bad comment or something that like really sticks with you when like 99.99% are positive. We do the same thing with like events. Like tragedies devastate us, but like I was just thinking about it and I was like, I've had the opposite of tragedy so many times. The baby's okay. Yes, I do have cancer, but I'm in remission. My best friend from high school.
I got the job.
I got the job and, I landed safely.
Right.
And like we are devastated by our tragedies, but we don't allow ourselves to be elevated in the same lasting way
on the same
by
level.
our what's the opposite of tragedy? Like
I'm struggling with how to calibrate that right now in the world, because not only do we not live in a communal culture in the West and in America specifically, we live under capitalism, and we don't live, I mean, we're lucky if we have communities that we've built. We have found family, Busy or Nine, and
We actually are wearing matching outfits.
we're matching right outfits.
Weirdest.
It's disgusting.
Casey, I'm
That's
gonna
a
come around.
cult,
I need to come
ladies. That's a
around. I
cult.
need to show you what happened. She showed up and she's like, well, this makes sense. Hold on.
you guys are
might
just
wanna
waiting for the
screen grab it.
comment.
Can we screen grab this?
Oh, I thought my shirt was white. But look at this.
Wait,
Turn
turn to the
sideways
side.
Sorry.
so I can see your stripes. Oh my God, that's
There we go.
hilarious.
But I think I work with a therapist right now, the one I mentioned before, who I love so much. And she talks about sometimes, she was like, listen, I know this sounds a little intense, but I try to think about decolonizing my practice. And by that, I mean, what are the aspects of my approach to mental health that have been forged in the fires of patriarchy and white supremacy and capitalism, et cetera. And as such, she was like, yeah, it's okay that you're feeling fatigued, because not only are we exposed to more information than we're naturally meant to because now of social media and the internet, but also we don't live in communities. You can have friends nearby, that's great, but that's not the same thing as when, say, someone finds out they have a finite amount of time and the village sits around them and sings to them and stays with them. Like that's not implied in our culture.
I know, but that's what we're all fucking missing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like how do we work to curate that again outside of the systems that caused damage in the first place? For me, that was the church, the evangelical church. Like that, I had access to that type of community and culture in that institution, but the harm it caused was greater than the help for me. And so I left. And so
It's conditional help.
yeah. And so I'm like, what version of that do I curate for myself? Or is it already somewhere and I just need to go to it,
It's not, but we need to all actively continue to try to curate it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Like, that's the thing where it's like, okay, like when I was really heartbroken or whatever, and you would like text Jenny, I'm going to cry. You would like text Jenny Connor or, like, hey, or Caissie would text BB, or even fucking Alan Starzinski would call Emily and be like, hey, I'm really worried about Busy. Can somebody, you know what I mean? That's that thing.
Yeah.
And like, I feel that. I know that. It's
like group chat.
It's group chat. It's fucking group chat.
We always joke about like how group chat has become a sort of moniker for many things.
Yeah.
And like it is kind of like a modern community where you're like,
Wait, Jen doesn't even know this about us, Caissie.
Oh, that's true. The whole beginning of this podcast was founded on putting strangers in group chats together.
Uh-huh. And there's some of them
That's
still
so
are going
cool.
strong, right?
Yeah.
Should we do
Yeah,
a
and,
round
like,
two?
People have
should.
gone to like
People's weddings, babies have been born.
people's weddings,
Yeah.
babies have been born.
Yeah. So it was during the pandemic and we were really talking about how like, I don't know, I think it was also when people were like kind of being wild on
Being wild online. And we were like, some
and we
things
were like,
aren't for
things-
the public.
some things are for your group chat. And if you don't have a group chat to send your wild things to, allow us. We will partner you with some people and see if you guys have a hit. And like there are some, I
love
want
that.
to know how many group chats still exist, Case.
you guys should do a
I know
reunion
they do
show
because people
where you have them all
sometimes
call
send-
in.
Oh, that would be
What?
fun.
I was saying you should do a reunion show where you have all of them call
Oh
in.
my God.
We
that would
should
be
have
amazing.
some of our group chats right in. Guys, if you're in a group chat that we curated, even if you've lost a few of the groupers,
Sure.
reach out. We want to hear from you. Also, I do feel like we should do a round two. I feel like we're in a moment
I think
right
you
now
should too. It's needed.
where it's needed. I think people are feeling more isolated and alone and like really sad, really fucking sad.
Yeah.
And like as I'm
let's
talking
do it.
about like all the love that I know that I feel and all that shit, these have been such dark days, man.
Dark days.
That like it's hard.
I just want you to know that I'm Venmoing my therapist as we're talking right now.
Because you've mentioned her 4 times and you're like, I
And I
forgot to
remembered
pay her.
I haven't
forgot
paid
to
her.
pay her.
I love that. I wish that this podcast reminded me to pay my bills.
It's the only bill it reminds me to pay. The other ones I'm pretending don't exist. For the foreseeable future.
Because our industry is also so frightening. It
'Cause
is
our
also an
industry is
airplane
scary.
falling out of the sky.
Ooh, that airplane has one wing and it's upside down.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
No,
I
but
know.
that's the metaphor for our country right now, guys.
Yeah.
For real.
For real.
For real.
I don't even know that we have one good wing.
But it's up to us to get everyone off safely.
But where do we go?
Into
then?
Canada.
Into Canada. I was going to say
Canada.
into Canada. My Swedish in-laws are in town right now and I love them and they're so sweet to me and they speak English and I'm learning Swedish so we kind of speak a mix of Swinglish and we were talking about America and
Yeah.
my mother-in-law who is a spirited woman she was like, I'm not going to impersonate her accent because it will be patronizing and I don't want it to be because she's incredibly smart. But she was like, it is not good. And I said, I know. And I jokingly said, you may be seeing more of us in Sweden than you plan soon. And she was like, I know. And there was something kind of chilling about her giving me the like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I was hoping subconsciously that my joke would be met with a joke. And it was like, well, no, of course you're all thinking about spending time somewhere else. But just going to keep Venmoing my therapist,
Yeah. It's a great time to be a therapist. I hope
God.
they're all doing great.
They're killing it. They're killing it.
We're not supposed to say killing
Oh,
it.
shit.
Lizzie. We're supposed to say they're really
Shit.
exceeding their own expectations by beating dead horse.
They're really skilling it.
They're really skilling it. Do you know, I will say, and I'll be careful here, it's not to open a can of worms we don't want to open, but there are some etymological oopsies I have made in my life. And by that, I mean turns of phrase that I thought were
Real?
real or meant something else
honey.
being from the American South. And I won't tell you what they were, but there were moments in my 20s where I was like, that's what that meant and was horrified. And I'm talking about any number of
I was going to say there's
offensive.
so many of them, but the best, most insane thing ever, which is in my book. I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. That when I was little, and like, in fact, until I was like well into my 20s, possibly 30s, I thought that there was a unit of measurement
Oh no.
called floor ounces. FLOR ounces. And that's how you measured liquid. Because I thought that the FL, when it said FL ounces, I thought it stood for floor, FLOR, which was a unit of measurement used to measure liquid. I don't know why. I don't know where.
Floor.
Floor.
Do you know how many ounces this floor is?
No. Floor ounces in my head.
Which sounds like a Cockney, like a derogatory term for someone who like flounces about.
When I
No, darling,
Yeah.
she's just floor ouncing about.
No, when I would see FL ounces in a recipe wherever, I would be like, oh, 8 floor ounces.
So
Eight
right, floor ouncing.
Floor ounces. What the fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna meet you here. So the Creedence Clearwater Revival song "Bad Moon on the Rise," I thought until an embarrassingly late age was "There's a bathroom on the right."
No.
I thought it was a song about a road trip. I was like, "There's a bathroom on the right." I really did.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
That it makes sense.
It
though.
actually does make sense. It actually makes sense.
It kind of works.
A bad moon on the rise? I've never seen a bad moon.
Yeah, there's a bathroom on the right.
By the way, there's no such thing as a bad moon.
Or one being on the rise.
Oh my
CCR.
God.
Yeah.
Whatever.
When
Yeah.
I was very little, and I still feel badly about this, I hung out with my aunts I was 7 and they were teenagers. So I found myself hanging out with them a lot, AKA they're babysitting me while my parents are not paying attention to what I'm doing. And my aunts had a friend over and they put on a Bee Gees record and they were singing a song, but they were singing the words "Can't Get an E." And I was like 7 years old and I was like, it's tragedy. Like,
oh my God.
so snotty and condescending to these teenagers. Like, it's tragedy. Can't get an
Cultureless
E doesn't even
swines.
make any sense.
Listen, you feckless Philistines. I know the Gibbs, the brothers Gibb.
I was a huge Bee Gees fan, so I probably was.
Me
just
too.
Very,
Oh, let me ask you this then, Caissie.
yes.
What's your favorite track on the Barry Gibb, Barbra Streisand disco album, Guilty?
Oh, that's a really good question. I just watched the documentary again.
Mine is Woman in Love. I am a woman in love.
Yes, I do think that's the most beautiful song. And also, we did a choreographed dance routine in elementary school to one of the upbeat songs.
It's the one that sounds like ABBA. I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's actually like the
So-
only real upbeat song on the album.
Yeah. So I think those are both of my favorites. I thought you were going to just ask me the simple question of who
Your
my
favorite-
favorite Gibb was.
Oh God. I don't even know if I'm prepared for that answer. Can I guess?
Who is it? Barry.
Andy.
Robin.
Oh my God. None of us know her.
It's so wild. We just watched Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band the other day because my husband had never seen it. And he was like, I'm on drugs. Let's watch this. It seems like the time. And I was like, I'd watched it a million times. And of course, it's like, in case you don't know, it's the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton are sort of playing the roles of the character. It's so trippy. It doesn't make a bit of sense, the movie. But then I was like, I've long loved Robin quietly, but I'm just going to say it. Like, and I think I even posted about it on Threads. I said, like, I think he's the cutest Gibb.
Caissie, wow. Them's fighting words.
I know. It's crazy to think about, but there's just something about him. It's like when you know, and I'm not just doing it to be different or whatever, but it's like liking George Harrison, like thinking he's
I get it. No,
or,
you're a person who knows yourself. I don't think you're doing it for the clout. I get it. I get it.
There's just something about him where I'm like, I like him. He's a team player.
Yeah.
He knew he wasn't the heartthrob, but
Yeah.
he's like holding it down, holding it together.
Yeah.
And like, there's something very lovable about that. And he's also like really Muppety, and I love a Muppet.
Yeah.
So like, I think he's very Muppety to me.
That's how I feel about the
you
older
really
Jonas.
love a Muppet.
I love it. Can I just tell you the last time I
Janice?
was on a podcast?
Janice?
I am Janice.
No, you're
Is that what you're
not.
saying? How dare
I'm Janice with the blonde
you?
Hair?
It's not about the look.
gosh.
It's about honey. It's about a vibe.
I want the one with the jacuzzi.
All right, fine. Listen,
I have
the
a Janice
last
action
podcast
figure.
I was on was a
I'm
Muppets
so
podcast. A
jealous.
Oh,
Muppets
really?
podcast. And if you're not listening, you're sleeping. My friend Christy Bauer, who is one of my oldest friends and a frequent collaborator and an absolute genius and a wonderful lion heart of a person, loves the Muppets. And she and some friends started, and this is not your mother's Muppet rewatch podcast. This
I
is
love it.
dramaturgically intricate.
The dramaturgically intricate is
Muppets.
a lot.
It
is
is
a lot.
It is. I learned more being on their podcast, and every one of their guests is required to watch one episode. And I watched Carol Burnett's episode
Of course.
where she goes to the dance marathon.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, these four Muppet hosts, I went on for some giggles and good times, and I left a smarter woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Casey, I
have
feel
to
like you
subscribe
need to be
that.
on there. I feel like you need on
Yeah.
there.
Can I put you in touch? I'm not
You-
even
I'm
kidding.
not-
I would
she
die
really
to be
needs
on a
to be
Muppet.
They're
on there.
lovely people. And they take it really seriously, which is why it's wonderful. Like they're not doing it ironically. It's really like genuine love for the Muppets.
I love that so much.
And we need more of that.
When I worked at the Rosie O'Donnell show, I think I had just become a writer, but
Brag.
I had been
No,
an associate producer.
again, how many times this show alone have we been like icon? Also, she's withheld
Caissie,
several names.
I apologize that you can't get in a word edgewise between Busy and I right now, but I do need to ask while we're on it because I would be remiss if I didn't
Yes.
ask. Were you employed for the Barbra Streisand episode?
Yes.
Holy
the
shit.
whole
Oh my
time.
God. Oh my God.
I was there from day
Oh
one.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that they changed the chairs so she could be shot from her left side, obviously.
Honey, we only had one
She
person
was-
who requested on our show, right?
That's right.
Can you give me their initials?
No, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I'll tell you later
Text
at our
me.
fancy dinner.
Oh shit. Now I gotta go to the dinner. I'm recovering from like a one nostril sinus infection, but I isn't that a weird?
I'm
where,
glad it's just one nostril.
So when I
guess.
breathe, it's a whistle. Anyway,
Yeah.
the Rosie O'Donnell show changed my life, and I don't know that I've ever drunkenly told you this in all of our hangs,
Aw.
but like I, as a gay kid in the South, knew it didn't even matter whether or not I knew she herself was queer. I
Yeah.
knew that the culture of that show was queer, and I
Yeah.
knew that she felt about Barbra Streisand the way that I did, which was that person represented a chance to get out of where we were.
Yeah.
And that person felt like maternal love to us. I cried myself to sleep listening to Barbra Streisand. So when I heard an adult saying that they had done the same thing in their childhood, I was like, I will follow you into the dark. And then the fact that she had cabaret singers and musical theater performers on as her musical guests,
Yes.
I loved it. I had the Rosie O'Donnell doll. When you squeezed the hand, it said, "You're a cutie patootie."
like
No, you have one?
too. I don't know where it is, but I do have one. But I have the Barbie here.
So wait, show it to me. So I've had the oh my god. I've had the distinct pleasure of working with Rosie twice since then, once on the L Word and once on a show called Smilf. And
Yes.
when we were on Smilf, we were in the makeup chair next to each other, and I was like, listen, I'm going to do something I tell others not to, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
bother you, and I'm just going to say that you really had a profound impact on my childhood. And not just because you were wonderful at your job and so funny, but because Barbara Jones Streisand, born on April 24th. And she just grabbed my hand and she was like, tell me. Anyway, I had to interject that because I don't know that I've ever shared that with you. But so you
I
were
love
there
that.
for wow, you saw it all.
I was there from day one. I left Letterman to work on the Rosie show. I started as her assistant. I was her assistant for like 6 weeks before she was like, "You're too intense to be my assistant, but I like you and I want you here. So we're going to get you another job." So then I was like an associate producer for just a little while. She knew the whole time I wanted to be a writer. And then a writing job came up and I was a writer. So I think I was a writer at this point. But Frank Oz was coming on the show to do Miss Piggy. This is the upshot of it, is that I was a new writer and I probably shouldn't have done this, but it was a very tight show. There was a lot going on. And when I was an associate producer, I would always pitch in with like guest relations, like getting them to sign their releases
Right.
and making sure they're in their dressing room, making sure the stage manager knows where they are. So for this episode where Frank Oz was going to be on, I said to the producer, of course, because I'm like being manipulative and I was such a cheeseball. I was like, listen, it's a really tight show. I don't have a lot going on. I'd be happy to like do the associate producer duties. And they were like, oh, great. That'll be great. And so Frank Oz came and I was like doing associate producer duties. And like, one thing about me is that like I don't always have a good handle on what my face looks like. Like my brain is not telling me what my face is doing. And apparently after I did all my duties with Frank Oz, I left and he said to the segment producer, "Is that young woman okay?" and she, she was like, she is okay. I think that she just really, really loves you. It is the point of it. And she was saying, and by the way, like she sees big famous people every day and never cares. You're the one person I've ever seen her react that way to. So I just think the thing is that she must really, really love you. And so Frank Oz then sent me like a big, huge care package of Miss Piggy swag and items and autographs and stuff. It was so nice.
I love when you I love hearing stories. I've long threatened and never will, but long threatened to do a podcast where it's just people talking about the time that they've cried hardest from joy. And
oh my God.
Telling that story. And I think so many of those moments I've heard from my friends have been when they met someone that inspired them, famous or not, just like actually getting to look in the face of someone that changed you and saying like, Busy's heard the story, but when my brother and I my family spent a lot of time in Poland when I was a kid, off and on. My parents ended up moving there and we were sort of assimilated into that culture sporadically throughout our strange Kentucky childhoods. And during that time, we were living in a place called Tomaszów, and they had like 2 radio stations, and one of them was constantly playing this Swedish jazz singer called Lisa Ekdahl. And my brother and I got obsessed with her, like obsessed. We wore out her records. Like she became Taylor Swift to us. And some of her music was in English, but some of it was in Swedish. And so we would just memorize it phonetically. We didn't speak Swedish. And she really became sort of emblematic of that time in our youth and remained important to us. So cut to years later, I'm 40 years old. I'm married to a Swede. I'm learning Swedish. I'm sort of connecting with my Swedish roots. I have like distant family there. I'm learning the language. I'm spending more time there. And she messaged me on Instagram. And when I tell you that, and this is, let me just say, this woman is a huge, huge singer and so many parts of the world. I don't know that she was as ubiquitous for like American millennials, but this is just to say, it's not like she was some random person. She's hugely successful. But again, my American friends were not listening to her. And so to me, when I called my brother and I just said, Lisa messaged me, that's all I said. I called her by her first name and he was like, I'm going to cry. And I was like, God. And she was so lovely. And she was just like, I like Severance. And I was like, you have to know, you were such an important part of my childhood and a weird part of my childhood. I was like living in another country and like my parents were moving. And anyway, I have not met her in person yet, but we're planning on a hang either in Stockholm or New York City. And that was one of those moments for me where I was like, it's not about you being famous, or it was just because like you touched me. And but Busy was laughing at me because of our obvious Sweden crossover, because Busy's child is living in Sweden.
Yes.
And we our shared family now has this funny thing in common where we're like, you know, we are spending more time in Sweden than we would have previously, let's say, me and Busy.
Right.
And I was like, I was losing my shit.
Your shit.
I was losing my
and
shit.
I was like, okay.
I was like,
okay, honey.
Is it
Kaitlyn Dever? Is it Kaitlyn Dever?
No one is Kaitlyn Dever. No one is Kaitlyn Dever. But I just love those stories where like someone say, and it's always, I feel like cross professional. Yes. Like I've met famous actors who were like, I met my favorite comic book artist and I wept.
Right.
And I love that shit.
I love
love
it
it
too. Oh my
too.
God. And I'm a huge Prince fan. And I love that whenever people have had a story about meeting him, they always want to share it with me. And some of the stories, like one time this lady's like, my husband's a contractor and he worked on Paisley Park for many weeks and Prince lived there. So he was always there. And so I asked him, did he have a story that maybe he could share that I could share with you? And she was like, so he's thinking about it. And I was like waiting on tenterhooks. And then finally he was like, oh, there is one thing that is kind of funny. Like, you know how, when you order French fries, like sometimes they stab holes in the top of it so that the fries don't steam up and get soggy.
Yeah.
And that's how he liked his French fries to be delivered. But like a couple times in a row, they didn't deliver his French fries like this. And he was like, I swear they do this on purpose. And that was the whole story.
It's really,
I love it. I love it. It's like he was real. He was a person, you know?
I worked in an Irish pub in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky when I was between my sophomore and junior years of college. I was saving up to do my like study abroad in London and I was broke. And there was this tiny Irish pub called Shenanigans in Louisville.
Stop it.
Oh yeah,
Just
Shenanigans.
please stop. Just
Shenanigans.
please.
Shenanigans. And listen, the great thing is that there is a part of a part of Louisville that's all Irish and Scottish, like fourth generation families, but they're
Yeah.
all rednecks. I say this
Sure.
as not in the pejorative. I am one myself.
No,
Like they
yeah,
are.
sure.
They're like, oh man, y'all know Patty O'Shanahan though. She's coming. I love him. I love him. His wife's name is Margaret Canaan. But they.
Stop it.
So when I worked at Shenanigans, I was allowed to smoke cigarettes while on the floor. So I would have
Obviously,
a
you
Marlboro
were.
Light in my lips,
Shut
between my lips,
up.
while dropping like a plastic tray of fish and chips. And this wasn't, I think this goes without saying, but this wasn't an erudite crowd. These were working folks, okay, coming in for a Smittix or a bass or a harp. And I was there one day and a guy came in by himself and he was dressed in like a bit of a regal outfit for the region. He was wearing like an ascot and a tweed blazer. And he sat down and he was like, yes, hello, can I just have an iced tea and a grilled chicken sandwich? And I was like, Dean? He was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God. Dean was a local NPR affiliate radio DJ in Louisville. And he was like the only classical music DJ for the whole city. And I had grown up listening to him. And at that point in my life, I didn't know the difference between him and Tom Cruise. Like he was the voice of classical radio. And I was like, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm just going to put your food down, but I do need to just say that you were a huge part of my childhood. I was like shaking. He was like, would you like to get a photo? And I was like, yes. And I had a flip phone. And we took a photo on my flip phone that I unfortunately never saved to a. I wish Busy, you're such a gearhead. I wish you'd been in my life at that time.
Shut up. When I was literally like, ugh, I don't have a card.
I don't have an SD card.
And she's like, wow, I didn't know you were such a gearhead. I was like, shut up. I'm getting it together.
Real
Just let me
gear
do
daddy
it.
over
Just let
here.
me do it.
She was like, here are your cans. I was like, oh my God.
my God.
I actually did not see cans, okay?
You said
I
cans.
didn't
In my
see
memory, you
cans.
said cans. Yes, you can. Yes, we can.
You know what?
What?
I gifted a friend of mine some Haya vitamins for her small children, and they love them.
Oh, excellent. That makes me so happy.
It
You're
makes me
hand selling.
No, it makes me happy too because, I have older kids. So
Yeah.
a little bit I'm like, you're just going to eat this thing. You know what I mean? Like this is your vitamin now. And
Yeah.
like I eat the Haya vitamins too sometimes because, Haya is
Yeah.
for children of all ages. But it was like really interesting to give it to like very small children and see that they also enjoyed the Haya vitamin.
Oh, that's so great.
I know, because typically children's vitamins, just candy in disguise, lots of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, lots of gummy junk that kids shouldn't ever eat, gets stuck in their little tiny teeth and then causes cavities
Especially
and
before
it's bad.
bed.
Yeah. But that's why Haya was created. It's a pediatrician approved superpower chewable vitamin. Most children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar, can contribute to a variety of health issues. Haya? No, not Haya. Haya is made with 0 sugar, 0 gummy junk, yet it tastes great. And those kids loved it. It's formulated with the help of nutritional experts. It's pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, and then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamins D, B12, C, zinc, folate, many, many others to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more. Non-GMO, it's vegan, it's dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and everything else you can imagine. Guys, it's the best. Simply put, it's the best vitamin out there for your kids, for you, for your kids' kids. I don't know your life. You know what I mean?
And it comes right to you. So you don't even have to remember to get it.
Delivered right to your door. You don't have to remember to pick it up at the store. It's fantastic. And we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. And to claim this deal, you just go to hiyahealth.com/busy. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/busy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
Busy, what's the craziest meeting someone? I mean, I know a lot of your stories, but what's your
100%,
most
100% just sent while we were talking, because it doesn't. A friend of mine's kid is really sick and in the hospital.
I'm sorry.
And I know, me too. But this discussion reminded me of the fact that I had just seen the picture of me at age 19 with Tori Amos and Colin Hanks, who was my boyfriend at the time, and
What a lineup.
got me backstage to meet Tori Amos because even though neither one of us were on, I was 18. Actually, I was 18, and it wasn't like we hadn't started acting yet professionally. We were just kids still.
Yeah.
And but his dad's agent got us to go backstage to meet Tori Amos, and that was a gift that he gave to me when we were dating as children, you know.
Ugh.
And anyway, my friend who's currently posted up in a hospital with her child. I'm sorry. I just while you were talking, I was oh fuck, she loves Tori Amos so much, and I was she needs to see this picture. She's never seen it, so I just sent it. I feel we need to see this picture today.
I love that.
Did you ever take the vinyl of Tori that I got?
Yeah,
you did.
I have it.
Okay. I couldn't remember it during that time. Well, I'll tell you, the person that introduced me to Tori Amos was Miss Busy Phillips, because when we met, I was
personally, in person.
Yeah. I was oh, no. I had been a fan of hers for years and
sure.
sort of came out to one of her records. And we went to see her last year, and I knew Busy knew her. Busy knows everybody, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't assuming we were going to go backstage, and the show ended. I was oh my God, that was amazing. I'm in tears. She happened to play a lot of songs from Scarlet's Walk, which she doesn't often. And that was my favorite record. And I started to go towards exit, and Busy was where are you going? And I was outside. And she was well, no, we're going backstage. And I was excuse me, ma'am. I was wearing, I was dressed like Caissie at the Bat. I was wearing.
I remember you had a baseball hat on.
I was wearing a baseball hat and a weird, Nanushka turtleneck. Caissie at the Bat, if Caissie at the Bat was also RuPaul. And it was important. And I was look, you either can be cool or you can be honest. Those are the two options in so many moments in our life.
Correct.
And I was I'm going to be honest. And I just took her hand and I was listen. And Busy sort of queued it up for me. She was
I did.
You changed her life. She came out to your music. And I was yes. And I said, I have to thank you, because there is something in the tenor of your storytelling that told me that you were telling the truth, and that that's all I needed to hear to be encouraged. And she just took my hand and she said, and now you are free. And I was well, bye. And now you are free. And I was I am. Thank you.
And now you are free.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
It
Wow.
was
We're so lucky. We've gotten to
beautiful. It was actually it was so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a special night.
I'm so glad you did it. And I'm so glad you didn't let the fact that you were wearing a baseball hat, and I think you'd been in the rain.
Yes.
I'm so glad you didn't let that stop you.
Caissie, I at some point really want to go back through some of my other photos and see what you remember of them. You were like, I believe you were wearing a felt hat and it was wet.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I just remember that. I love this story. I've become friendly with a woman who was Prince's assistant at one time, and she
Wow.
told me this really sweet story about my friend Bette Midler, I think was in the audience at maybe Jazz Fest or Essence Fest or something. And my friend Ruth was saying Prince was in a little bit of a sour mood and wasn't like really in the mood to go out and perform. And he was like, who's here tonight? You know, and Ruth was saying, well, this person's here, whoever. And he wasn't really jazzed about any of the names.
Or
And then she
Essence.
said, yeah, or Essence. And then she was like, oh, Bette Midler's here. And she said that he like perked up and he was like, you have to go get her. You have to bring her backstage. I have to meet her. And she was like, I didn't realize you were a fan. And he was like, you don't understand. Her music meant so much to me as a kid. And like, really like her stagecraft, everything. Like, I have to meet her. And so Ruth went to go fetch Bette from where she was. And Bette was like, no, I love Prince. I come out to see him every time I can, but I look a mess. I'm sure he looks fantastic and I look terrible. And Ruth was like, ma'am,
Ma'am, get it together.
You're going back there to
It's
meet
the
Prince.
artist currently known as Prince.
And she was like, okay. And so she went back there and met him. I don't know what they talked about, but she was like, please just relay to Bette that like the mention of her name turned his whole world around.
Wow.
And I love that I get to hear that story, even though it has nothing to do with me, because I'm like, she would never know that unless I connected with this person who was there, who was lucky to be there. I love it too. I think I'm greenlighting your podcast right now.
I appreciate you.
I am greenlighting it secondarily.
Successful people being inspired by other successful people, specifically in showbiz. I think it's like, it's one thing I've really loved watching Adam Scott during this process of doing press for Severance is he was a huge talent and success before. It's not like he needed this, but like,
and he does everything.
He does everything. He's done it all. He's fucking phenomenal and a lovely human to boot. But like watching him be honest, and so much press about the moments where like people that were his heroes coming up and saying, hey, we really love the show and your performance, and him being like, I'm not okay, man. Like that. I was like, thank you for setting that precedent, because we don't have time for bullshit anymore in this world. And I think pretending to
this is it, guys. We're surviving the plane
we're
crash.
surviving the plane crash. Like, tell Al Pacino it means a lot to you that he loves your TV
there's
show.
No
I love
reason
that he
to
did
be
that.
too cool.
No, fuck
We're
it.
not. Fuck it. Tell people you fucking love them. I don't know who the
Yes.
fuck is listening, but shoot your goddamn shot.
Yes.
And I mean that in all the ways. Tell your sister you're sorry. Tell for your childhood. Tell your fucking parents you love them.
Tell your husband you miss having sex with him.
Tell your fucking husband you miss having sex with him.
Tell the
Whoever
checkout
you are.
girl
Shoot your
at
shot
Trader
is a
Joe's.
little violent, so I think we have to say you
like
have
we
to
can't be shooting any
boot your
birds or
bot.
horses. Boot your bot.
Wait,
boot
what?
your. Okay, she's a writer, honey. She's a writer. She said,
I don't
boot
know.
your bot.
Toot your tot.
No.
something.
Wait.
Boot your bot is really good.
Boot your bot is
because
real good.
I'm never gonna forgive you for not letting me get to that first, Caissie. That's all I have to
boot your
say.
bot. And on that note, Caissie, what are you doing your best at this week? And I'm going to
What am
say
I doing my
boot your
best
bot.
at this?
I think the
Okay.
answer's in the answer.
I'm booting my bot at well, you know, it's kind of fitting with what everything we've been talking about. Like, you know, Busy has been following the saga for years now, literally years of me trying to like unravel my mom's estate. She died very suddenly and she did not leave a will, and that is traumatic. And so to the point of what we're talking about, if you're having a hard time thinking about the eventual end of your life, go take ayahuasca, do whatever you have to do to write down what your wishes are for the people who will be left behind. It's just one last gift that you can give them. And so I just like, and I'm saying this for myself as well. And so finally, actually just today, busy. Like my husband's home for many weeks doing he's
Doing recovery.
Doing recovery.
Doing recovery from a surgery.
From 2 surgeries at one time, two for one. And
Not gonna say 2 birds with 1 stone, but
Not gonna
basically
I'm
2
gonna say
birds.
2 stones and 1 bird. So what I'm hearing is you're a family of show-offs. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
I've done
Okay.
75 cool jobs. And he's like, I've had all the surgeries at once.
More surgeries than I have ever gotten at one time. So we were just talking and we were just talking about places where we felt really stuck, you know, and he's like stuck. He's literally stuck on the couch and is forced to listen to me. And I'm talking about like where I feel stuck and
Yeah.
things that just feel like they're not moving forward. And this area of like my mom's estate in particular, like what to do with her fucking car. Like it's a perfectly good car. It's stupid
Yeah.
that it's sitting there and like someone should be using it, whether we sell it or give it to one of the kids or whatever. But it's across the country and it's stuck. And I haven't been able to even mentally pick apart what you do, like how you do that. And so he was like, sitting here, like I don't want to take away your agency, but this is something that I can do sitting here. I can call.
Yeah.
I can call the DMV in Cape Cod and say, what do you do to transfer the title of a person who's deceased, their car, to their, you know, person that's been legally
Next of
named
kin.
their
Right.
heir.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so he just did that. And it was like, I'm proud of myself for just admitting and saying, like, this is something that I'm just stuck on. It's not for a particularly good reason. It's just not something that I'm able to do.
Honey, clerical work? None of us.
Right.
Oh God.
Right. And so, and I was thinking about like busy, what we were just saying the other week is that it's, you know, he has his neurospicy issues as well, you know. I was thinking about when we were talking about how it's easier sometimes to do something for someone else than it is to
Yes.
do for yourself.
Always.
And so I was proud of myself for just saying, I'm very, very stuck on this. It would make me feel better if this was solved. And
Can you
he
just do
had
it?
an answer in like within 10 minutes of like what's to be done. And so now the process is started and I feel confident that we'll do it. So I'm just proud that I asked for help from someone that, you know, could give it to me and like did it immediately because it was for me. And so I'm proud of that. It's so stupid. But like sometimes that thing that's been hanging over your head for months would only take a few minutes if you could do it. But I couldn't do this one. So he did it and it's done. And I'm proud of myself for just like
Well done.
being like, okay, let me let him do it. Yeah.
I
How about
love
you,
it.
Bez?
Well, let's ask Jen first.
Okay.
What are you doing your best at this week, Jen?
I'm doing my best at being patient and transient in my own space, physical space, because I struggle with OCD and mine is very specific to symmetry and cleaning. And so I historically have had a hard time, even with my closest loved ones, being in my space for very long. And my wonderful brother and sister-in-law were staying in my West Village apartment the last couple of days, which was a joy. And my wonderful in-laws have been staying in my wife's place in Brooklyn. And I went into this week sort of like, how lucky to have family under the same roof. And I'm just going to breathe through it and understand that like I have my own chemical predilections and I can move through it. And I was proud of myself because I did. And we've enjoyed ourselves and things have been messy and not messy and literally, not emotionally. Emotionally, it's been great.
Right.
But historically, if someone like put a glass on a table without a coaster, you know, I'm like, my eye twitches. So I did my best at just like trying to be present with all of my family between languages, literally.
Yeah.
And just remembering that we're all lucky to have time together.
We're all lucky to have time together.
Well
Yes.
done. Well done. Okay, Busy, your turn.
Okay. I got it. Guys, I got it. I've really got one. I promise. It's coming.
Are you Florencing, darling?
Really got one. I've floor-ounced. And I've got to say, I haven't been doing my best at a lot this week. Although I have been doing my best at smoking weed. No, I was like really I've been trying different workouts.
You've been really good.
I have been.
I'm you're inspiring
I
me because
went
I'm
to
not strong
solid
right now.
core.
What is that?
Yes. I don't know if it's for me, but I went twice. And then I did another workout. I went to Forward Space, and then I did, because that was a goal of mine. So I'm like trying to move my body more. I'm getting in that sauna, honey. I'm sweating
Yes.
it out. I'm sweating it out.
Floor-ouncing all around the sauna,
I'm
darling.
sweating out so many floor ounces. It's crazy. And I'm doing my best, I think, at like, oh, you know what I'm doing my I know what I'm doing my best at. At not distracting myself. I was like joking about the weed. I'm doing my best at not distracting myself from the things that are like actually painful and or need attention, and like sending the fucking email right away, like responding to the thing. I cleaned, you guys. I had this shelf in my
Which one?
living room downstairs that was filled with like mail and shit
By
that
the bar?
Yeah. You know the shelf.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
Did you
of course
see
I've
it
seen it.
today?
I've
But have you
experienced
seen
the
it
bar.
She
today?
just
But
said
have
she
you
has
seen it
OCD.
Honey,
today?
she was pristine.
Honey,
I'm gonna be honest.
She's a new shelf.
I didn't assume that was your work. I'm sorry. I underestimated you.
You underestimated me, Mage, because that was my work.
Mage did. And I made you
Wow.
pause. I made you pause for that.
Thank you. Because I went through every fucking piece of unopened mail from the last 5 months or whatever since November. And however many months that's been. 1, 6, I don't know. Anyway, I went through every piece of mail. I opened everything. I
Wow.
went through everything. I made piles. I organized things. I put things into things that should be in folders. I just did it. And I really
That's a big accomplishment.
it was a big accomplishment. And then I made the shelf look pretty.
Can I offer you a compliment? That's something I've observed you doing.
Yes.
I would like to say that something I really appreciate about you is that even when you are busy or feeling stressed or sad,
Mhm.
you are the most consistent friend I have with regards to checking in.
Oh.
Like you could be in like an old school Edwardian depression, like writing
Honey,
poetry
she
with a
is.
quill.
She
Honey,
is.
she is, and she is.
Yeah.
Under a quilt, but I know I will get a text that was like, I remember yesterday you said you had a sinus infection. How was your nose?
Mm.
And it means a lot to me. And I don't think people can be great friends, but not consistent checker-inners.
Mhm.
And it is a great comfort to me that you always check in. And I see you do it with all of your friends and your
Well,
loved
because
ones.
I'm trying to live that thing, that anti-capitalist, more matriarchal existence where our community is the most important thing, and
Yeah.
we have to like build it around ourselves, and we have to show up for one another. And but thank you for noticing. But also it is a part of me that I will never, I hope to God will never
Oh, the paint is
cease
dry, honey.
to exist.
Yeah.
Also, I took Cricket to the Yoko Ono 90,
Right. How was
92
it?
trees at the Park Ave Armory, where you get to like hang a wish on the tree. And
So
it was really
cool.
nice. And reading the wishes was amazing. And then Cricket was like, "You're not supposed to read other people's wishes. It's private." And I was like, "No, I think it's kind of part of the art." And she's like, "It's not." And I was like, okay. Okay, Cricket.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Oh,
I was
Crick.
scolded. But I did read other people's wishes, and it ran the gamut. You know, like from like world peace, free Palestine, hope Donald Trump dies, literally, like shit
Yeah.
like, and then or like for people to find freedom within, and
Yeah.
then like I hope I like get into NYU, literally, you know, or like I
Right.
hope that I get to you know, get into this restaurant. Like it was so
Right.
wild what
Yeah.
people wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people say make a wish, it's 11/11, make a wish, or birthday candles.
I mean, that felt like aggressive and like mean to me, but whatever. Okay.
Excuse me, I'm a person who says it myself.
Woo! Okay.
I want you to know that voice is more the narration of a retroactive event
Copy
than
that,
it is a
copy that.
person I'm condescending to.
Okay.
Sure.
So I do make one literal wish for the year I pick it, and on New Year's Eve I have it. Like I'm incredibly superstitious, and I did realize last year that it was the most consistently I'd ever thought the same thing every time, and
Oh,
and
wow.
it's time sensitive, and I will let you know by the winter if it has come true or
Yes.
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Well, guys, I hope your wishes come true.
me too.
And I hope whatever
All of
you've
your
wished for, I hope whatever you've done your best at this week, whether it be sweating it out in a sweat lodge of your own making,
Or
in your-
killing birds.
or
of your own
killing, or
stoning.
killing birds with your own stones. Or passing stones, perhaps. Perhaps someone listening is passing a kidney stone. We don't know.
Oh,
As
God,
we
I hope
speak.
it's not a bird.
And if you pass that stone, throw it right at a bird. Right out the window, honey. And just get that bird. Just get as many birds as you can with that stone.
Ah.
It was a joy to be with you both. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Severance is
Available.
She's avails, honey. She's tech
Available.
avail.
She is Chuck Avail.
it's so good this season. Congratulations.
Thank you, Caissie.
On everything. I'm just
And
really
it's only
enjoying
getting
it.
better.
Thank you. I'm
only
excited
getting
for you to see
better.
the rest of the season. It gets real spicy.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, maybe you'll come back.
I would love to anytime.
Okay.
We don't have to be
we-
recording. Let's just hang out.
That seems perfect. Okay. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. We love you.
We love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.